Well, welcome to Q&A Fridays. My name is Peter Anderson. I've been a marriage and family therapist for over 13 years. Can't believe it's been that long. So I will be taking questions from Herman. He's right behind me. Do you want to say hi?
Hello.
So he's just going to be throwing some questions my way, and I'm going to just try to answer them the best I can. We're going to try to make this for you, for all of you. If you would like to send us some questions, we would like to answer them. Sometimes I may answer them. Other times Jessica may be here to answer them as well. We're going to try to make this pretty casual and just, yeah, we're not going to force this too much. So how does that sound?
Perfect.
So,
Comment.
yeah, and please comment below. Thank you.
So, the first question is, what are 3 of the top things that you see habits from your most successful couples?
Wow. So 3 things that I see with my most successful couples, I would say, number 1, they have humor. There's levity in the relationship. They don't take themselves too seriously, even when they have some pretty intense fights. Not physical, nothing like that, but they allow levity to come in. I would say that. Couples that take themselves way too seriously, or maybe one partner isn't laughing, I start to have a little bit of a radar. Now, there's a number of reasons for that. It could be that maybe they use their humor in a very insulting way. That's something that's going to have to be corrected. But I would say a healthy couple generally has levity. They know how to laugh. Number 2, I would say they have an honest view about their own limitations. In other words, they're okay and secure that they're not good at everything, and they let their partner influence them. There's not a sense of insecurity that I somehow have to always be everything for that person, or maybe my mistakes are somehow going to be used against me. So there's a sense that they just kind of know their limitations. And I would say the third part is I have to agree with John Gottman, since he's my hero, is they really watch out for contempt. They are mindful of that. They really strive to make sure bitterness does not take over their relationship. And so whenever they see bitterness, they get help right away. They're very, very careful of bitterness taking over. And so they seek to communicate effectively ASAP rather than just letting it fester. So I would say those 3 things.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What are some easy ways to maintain a long-term relationship?
Ooh, some easy ways. Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I think one is to try to separate problems that are going to be with you for the rest of your life from things that you can actually solve. Gottman talks about perpetual problems versus solvable problems. And he says that something like 70% of problems that we have in our relationship are going to be with you for the rest of your life. So that's huge. If you could just kind of not feel like you have to solve all of those and just kind of let those go and realize that that's just personality differences and whatnot, and just kind of put a lot more of your energy on things that you actually can solve, like how much we have sex, how to deal with in-laws, spending habits, those things. I would say what I see with a lot of couples, they just lose energy over time. They put so much energy in things that they just really, at the end of the day, they can't necessarily win at, or they also maybe focus way too much on winning arguments rather than hearing the other person. So I would just say, was it 3 things? Did you say 3 things, or how?
Just easy ways.
Just easy way. Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with just energy. Where are you exerting a lot of your energy? So a lot of couples that come and see me, they just look tired. They just look exhausted, and so it's kind of like jujitsu. What I mean by that, I'm not very good, but I started jujitsu this year. And my sensei always says, Peter, you're using way too much strength, because I used to work out at the gym, and I still do. But jiu-jitsu has nothing to do with strength, has nothing to do with power. It just has a lot more to do with positioning. And I have a lot of couples that come in and they spend so much energy on basically the wrong thing. And so if you can just redirect that in things that are winnable, you're going to be a lot happier over time, because marriage is hard, especially with kids and retirement and sex problems and ED problems. And I could keep going. Okay.
Yeah.
and menopause. And so save your energy. Yeah.
So then the last question is, in one of your videos, one of your courses, you mentioned the top 3 reasons people get divorced, and how affairs is not even one of them. So what are the top 3 reasons people?
I don't know if I did my research on that yet. Well, I know number 1 is contempt. Yeah, number 1 is contempt. And so that's why I always tell people, don't worry about being nice. Worry about being clear. Brené Brown has a really great YouTube video that y'all can watch on boundaries. How she says the people that are the happiest that she's ever counseled were people that knew how to say no and were okay with it. And they said no a lot. And the people that are the least happy that she's ever counseled are the people that said yes to everything. So in your marriage, you want to really work on clarity. You want to work on clarity. I have way too many couples that focus so much on trying to be over responsible for their partner. And what I mean by that, they try to say things in a way that their partner would like what they say. In other words, they feel like they have to do the job of the speaker and the listener. And so that's going to build a lot of contempt, because you're going to feel really taken advantage of. So just work on clarity, and that keeps a check in bitterness. I think the number 2, I believe it's death of a family member, primarily of a child. And the reason for that, I believe I'm not sure, I haven't read, I'm just kind of doing this free for all, but I think it's that. I think it's like grief, or, like the empty nesters, when the kids leave the home. So I think that's like 2 and 3. It's really when something like traumatic happens that completely redirects or not redirects, but shakes the whole core of a relationship. So a lot of couples will stay in just for the sake of the kids. And once the kids are gone, they don't even know who this person is anymore. That can happen, especially if there's a death of a child. They lose their existential existence, and that sense of trauma, or the sense of sadness really overtakes them. So you want to make sure that you keep going back to building a foundation, building a sense of purpose on why we're here, why we're in this together. You want to be really careful of becoming what I call the Netflix couple that comes home from work, eats dinner, looks at the game, turns on Netflix, maybe we have a beer, and then we go to bed. And then, 1 or 2 days a week, that's fine. But I have couples that they've spent 25 years of that, and there's really no emotional bank account. So I would say contempt, number 1, and the 2 and 3 are going to be when something drastic happens that shakes the foundation of the relationship. They don't have any energy left, and so they divorce. That wraps up question and answer day. Try to make this a little bit more informal. So if you have any questions, I would love to hear them. And hopefully I'll see you next time. Thanks again.